Noel Morin here. Welcome to our October CCL Hawaii monthly call. Glad you're all here with us. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact, sorry you couldn't be here. This is actually going to be a really fun meeting tonight. We have an agenda. We'll go to the next slide. So we'll do the usual welcome and connection before content. We have our traditional about CCL. We have some monthly call highlights, information about the recently concluded inclusion conference, national updates, and then also Hawaii updates. So our connection before content. Now, who came up with this question? I'm still trying to think of a response to this. So what is your favorite Halloween memory or costume? Maybe we'll just stop sharing and just see each other, and we can just blurt out our experiences. Oh, Ruth is here. Welcome.
Hi. My new favorite Halloween costume is the Portland Frog.
Yes. I was thinking about something similar because there's so many of them now, right? So many different
unicorns.
Costumes.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else? It's been a long time for all of us in terms of trick-or-treating, but I'm sure we can dig deep and figure out an experience.
Well, my most memorable costume was I was in my first year of medical school, and looking around for female companionship, and Halloween came up, and I asked this gal to go out to the Halloween party. And I'm not sure what the inspiration was, but I decided to dress up as a Maori, which included, painting some tattoos on my face. I failed to take into account that as I showed up at her door wearing a loincloth, that she might be offended. So she refused to go out to the party with me until I got some real pants on. Anyway, that relationship did not last long.
Sounds like it didn't even start. Oh, goodness.
So San Jose, California. I lived in San Jose for a few years, and Halloween is a big deal for not just the kids, but the adults as well. And what's really surprising was that we would have big kids, like adults, and they were trick-or-treating, and they were actually instead of the traditional basket or the jack-o'-lantern, they were actually carrying around pillowcases, and they were loaded with candies. And I inquired, and I learned subsequently that they essentially collect all these, and then they bring it to the flea market and sell and resell them. Entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
I found a photo, and I'm just going to put the photo up, and then I'll tell you. And I don't like Halloween, okay?
Oh my gosh, you are the earth.
And
Mother Earth.
Every single note was a climate change issue.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like Halloween. And my cousin in Florida, when I was living there, loved to throw Halloween parties. And he for weeks, he's like, you're coming. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. And he's like, no, you are coming. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going. And I found this globe. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then my cousin looking at me, she's like, I thought you didn't like Halloween. I'm like, I don't. But if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this well.
And you sure did.
It worked every evening. I mean, the conversation about climate change actually took place. I was like, okay, I did my job.
Right. Oh, yes.
Good. Very good.
Great.
You should market that on the CCL website for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the absolute best tabling costume.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be really good.
You just will be standing the whole time, though.
It's hot here. Else? I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
I'd like to just add I'm not really much into costumes, but my most memorable Halloween was when Ron and I went to Waikiki for a Halloween. It was crazy. It was just any kind of costume you can imagine. The big strings of fireworks being thrown off the balconies of the high rises all around. So the noise was crazy. Yeah, we saw some wonderful, wild, weird costumes. And I'll leave that up to your imagination. Anything you can imagine that was there and worse.
Worse.
Well, you were right, Noel. This is going to be a good meeting. This is.
Anybody else?
Oh, I remember going as Bubble Memory back in the day.
Bubble
When that was a thing.
Okay.
You're muted, Ron.
Yeah,
Oh.
one of my best ones, I think, might have been a critical mass ride in San Francisco. Now, this may or may not have been on Halloween, but gazillion bicyclists met in this square in San Francisco, and they rode all through downtown areas, and they were a critical mass, and they far outnumbered the motor vehicles. And there was a huge amount of costumes in that ride, and I remember saying to a bicycle leader friend of mine who was talking to somebody about who organized this. And I said, well, this guy, Dave, he's the organizer. And it was like, au contraire, I didn't organize this. Nobody organized this. It just happens. And I go, oh, neat, neat, neat. So anyway.
Cool. Well, thanks all.
Okay. Let's share another screen if the screen share is up for that. And I think he is. And there, who we are. Yeah. Who takes care of who we are? You know, I think we know who we are, don't we? Was that a key slide?
No, if you scroll to the next slide, we have core values, our mission. I think given the audience we have here, we can proceed to the next items unless any of you are wanting to cover these.
No, that's fine. I pass.
Okay.
Okay. And I think talking about our 4 priorities is kind of a little bit redundant for this group.
So I think because the next slide is essentially our segue to Karina. Karina, thanks for making this meeting, and importantly for socializing, the summary of the inclusion conference, which some of us attended, and obviously not everybody did. But so this would be a great opportunity for us to hear from you, your impressions and summary of the event.
Sure. Let me find my slides. All right. So, conference highlights. It was fascinating. We had the highest show rate of any of the 4 conferences that we've ever planned. So, as you know, the Inclusion Conference is put together by Black, Indigenous, and people of color volunteers. Most of them have been around the organization now actually 5 years. So all the topics and all the presentations are basically their ideas. All I do is just put the program together with the help of Allison, our conference director. So overall, we had 12 presentations. Normally, we have about 5 to 6 speakers. But overall, we had 12 because we included breakouts. And I'll tell you about the breakouts in a bit. This year, it was a lot of firsts. So we had the first male poet. Normally, we start the conference with some kind of art, whether music or poetry. Jacob Chores Arguello was our first poet, male, and we were just so happy to hear him interpret his poetry. For the first time, we also added visual descriptions to our presentations, and that was learning as you go because all of the presenters got those instructions a week before the event. maybe 3 days. It was like really, really short. And it came from the Persons with Disabilities Action Team. So the person that leads that team provided it as something that we could add. So it was good to see everybody in practice present themselves and give a visual description as they were presenting themselves. The playlist this year compared to any other year was actually a hit. I love when people are like, hey, can I listen to the playlist? And I got stories from people hearing it on the way to work, on people going to travel. And the playlist is normally based on our theme. So whatever the theme is, we try to pick songs that reflect the theme. So this year was about building community and resiliency. So we picked a lot of songs that spoke to that. We normally have a Friday night gathering, and that had great reviews. There was just a lot of one-on-one conversations with people, so people got an opportunity to get to know each other. And we had a lot of games. We had show and tell this year, and to listen to people show and find something that is important to them. The storytelling this year compared to other years was really phenomenal. It was great to do that. And it was on the spot. Like a lot of people were like looking for an agenda for Friday night. And I'm like, no, there's no agenda. You're just come here to come and chill out and get to know each other. As usual, we have ASL and Spanish interpretation, which works out really well. To be able to have interpreters and be able to offer the content to people in different languages, which is great. So the 7 breakouts, it was also done for the first time. It was done simultaneously. I put 4 of the topics there. Space, water, educational gardens, food culture, nonpartisanship, community resilience, and gender. And these topics, again, came from the volunteers themselves. A lot of them, people that either knew about this topic or had researched the topic enough to be able to build a presentation. The water presentation, Manolo comes from Puerto Rico, so he just wanted to share a lot of the things that he felt people should know about some water issues, starting with Puerto Rico and touching on other topics. Something new that we also featured was Vanessa Nakate. She's a young Ugandan environmentalist, very well known in international circles. And she couldn't join us live, but she did send us a message. So at some point, hopefully when we are done putting up those videos, because we 12 of them, they will all be in a playlist. So if you see it in the chat, there is a playlist for all of the Inclusion Conference. And hopefully will be done by the end of this week. So it was just fascinating to be with people and be in community and listen to what people have to say. Out of all the presentations we had there, the one where we got some really good popular feedback, there's usually one that gets popular. This was the one about cultural competency. And when we got Ukeme to come and talk to us, she spoke a lot about her immigrant experience and what it was like for her to build relationships and community in the places where she has been. She's now the mayor of a town in Upper Arlington, Ohio. So it's very interesting to hear her perspective. So I'm going to play 2 sections of this, and they're all short. First, I want you to hear the presentation of the visual description, which I thought was very well done by the person that presented her. Minerve is actually, let me stop this and replay this because I realized I didn't put the sound. Minerve is our Inclusion Conference coordinator. So she is normally the one that is going looking for all of us speakers, and she's the one that helps us. Okay. For some reason, it doesn't want to let me show my slides. There we go. Do you see the slides? Yes? Okay. So let me play the beginning of this.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed their breaks as we dive into the second half of our conference. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Minerve Jean. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'll also be providing a visual description of myself for accessibility practices. I am a Black feminine presenting woman wearing a black top and a white jacket. I'm connecting to you today from Florida, land of the Miccosukee, Seminole, Timucua, and Masago tribes. And I'm also pleased to introduce Ukemi Awakasian Jeter.
Very interesting to see. And Minerve got those instructions maybe the day before. So to see her adapt it on the day of and seeing other people struggle and adopt the visual descriptions on the day of, I was very proud of our community for doing that. So a lot of Ukemi's presentation does talk about how people interact with each other, but I wanted to share something she said in regard to a question. It was during the question and answer period.
Ask, please discuss the role of the connector in the practices discussed and any techniques or thoughts on how we as individuals and people can get away from or distance ourselves deliberately on the tendency to be self-immersed in how we see and hear the world and each other in community and conversation.
Ooh, that feels like I can do a thesis on that. I think a connector has a very, very unique position, and this is where you are completely. Connectors are immersed in the work, so they know it, right? And this is where the non-judgmental aspect of this practice really has to come through. Because if you're connecting, you're so immersed, you can hear something and be like, that's not even right. Like that is arsenal or whatever but how do you tone down judgment based on what you know? That's always what you're really trying to work against, is you can know how this train wrecks with certain thinking, or you can really lean into being non-judgmental and trying to get them, and not in a, I'm going to convince you to be around this way, but trying to understand the how of why they believe what they believe. That's the best thing the connector can, because as a connector, you don't want to lose the ability to stay in the conversation. And you stay in the conversation by repeatedly trying to understand how, what along your journey has caused them to believe what they believe. If you're going to make any progress of changing that train.
And there's a lot more of the question and answer period. Always look forward to at the inclusion conference, because I'm curious with what our volunteers and our attendees are going to be asking, which I think is the best part of the event, even though I love the presentations and the content that people put together. But yeah, I invite you, once all of the things are there, to take some time and, all of the sessions are about an hour each. Some are like 40 to 45 minutes to just listen in. Because I love how people put the information together and what they shared. Like I was actually very much not surprised, but very impressed by one of my fellows. One of my fellows, Palika Om, when she made, because we made people write proposals for the breakouts. So she wrote this proposal on how she wanted to talk about food culture. And I watched a couple of seconds of it because I wanted a video to just try to get people to go watch more videos. And it was astounding for me to learn her knowledge about food and what she said about food and how she compared that to growing, for example, cilantro in her home country to comparing it to cilantro in the States. And I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of that if she would not have shared that cultural practice, right? So a lot of the presentations at the Inclusion Conference are more about culture and community, with the hope that people take back some of that knowledge and possibly use it in dialogue with other people, or when they're talking to the members of Congress, right? That's the whole purpose of the whole DEI thing. Because we never know who we're going to come across. So we're like, how do we build more understanding among each other? And how do we do that when we talk to members of Congress? So that was the fourth. very, very happy to see the content. Hopefully, we will continue next year in September with the CCL making changes. I hope that it's still September. But yeah, we will go back to the people of the Global Majority Action Team to hear, how they're feeling. It usually the theme, it starts with that question. So how are we feeling? What do we want to tell the CCL community? And they come up with the theme. So it's great work, and it's really one of the highlights of what I get to do at CCL. So thanks so
Karina,
much.
thank you very much for that. I guess before we transition, I'd like to ask the team here if we have any reactions or any questions about what we saw. I mean, obviously, it was just a snippet, right, of the entire experience, and yeah, I personally am inspired to poke around the video. So thank you. But any reactions or questions?
Yeah, that was my moment of Zen today. Thank you for that. It's about all the Zen I'm going to get, but it's really inspired me, the connecting, and I'm not judging. How was the Hawaiian community represented?
Well, that is a very, very good thing. So I don't know how the information was shared here. When I did a lot of my social media and information that I sent out, I try my best to share the information. So usually, you gave me a good idea because I have not gone back to actually look at the people that registered, and actually basically more the registrations, more the people that showed up, 59% this year, to see the representation. One thing I did notice was that the people asking the questions were usually white identifying individuals, which I was very happy to see. But at the same time, I was like, okay, where's the rest of the BIPOC people that are putting this event together? Like, what question are they asking? So yeah, now that you're asking me that, now I'm gonna get curious and go download that to kind of see what the representation was like. In past years, we normally get a lot of people from, of course, California, but we get a lot of people from the Northeast, more than any other community. The Northeast really shows up for this conference. Yeah, so that is good to know. Because the other thing that when we talk about in planning the event is we try to get as much representation as possible. And last year, more than this year, was a lot of more concentration on islands, right? There was a lot of storytelling related to the islands and island community. It was less this year. And every year we try to pick an area of either the country or what we're seeing internationally to try to bring to this event, because this is less policy related per se, even though the topics that the people selected for the breakouts, though in one way or another, something dealing with some form of policy. And people do want to lobby, so that's something that we might include in possible next year. There's a lot of planning that comes to that. The BIPOC community at CCL wants their lobbying event just like the conservatives have. And it's been a discussion for like the last 3 years, like with everything else, that comes with financial support that right now we don't have. So, and then I've also been very, I'll be honest. I was very clear with my coworkers and people in the executive team. If we're going to do a program like that, I would like the program to be fully funded and paid for. So if we have to bring 20 BIPOC volunteers to DC, I don't want them to spend a dime. But in order to make that possible, it's going to require some funding that right now I don't think we have at the organization.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for asking that, and I'll let you know what I find out, because now I'm going to get curious to know about the representation.
Great, thanks, Karina. Anybody else? I will just say one thing. It was similar to Doug. When you said moment of Zen, that kind of related to me as well. What's interesting is that not only do you see the different perspectives, you also understand better how you might engage with others, right? So that you're actually able to see those different perspectives. And then the last thing for me, and I think this applies to all the work we do here, is understanding why people do what they do, or what they say, what, how they behave, right? And then using that information to try to make that connection. So it's human, and it's something you just take for granted. It's like you look at life through your own lens, when in reality there's so many of them out there. And for us to be able to connect, we have to be able to, one, understand, and then two, reach out and make that connection. So anyway, yeah, lots to think about as a result of what you shared. Thank you. Ron, back to you on the slides. Do we have, I think we're heading to national updates now, right? Slide 13.
Is that 13?
Yep. Yep. And it's you.
Okay, so upcoming events, just reading them off here real quick. We've got our fall conference coming up, November 14 and 15. I believe that is a Friday and a Saturday. And then the following week, the 17th through the 21st, is our virtual lobby team. So if anyone here, well, I think everyone here may be very interested in being on a lobby team. And you can reply to this email, fairly easy to remember. Paul may even be able to put a link in the chat, Hawaii at citizensclimately.org. Thanks to Citizens Climate Lobby, that comes to your 3 state coordinators, Noel, Paul, myself. So we will make sure if you send us your intent that will happen. There won't be a CCL national call on November because we're deferring to all this lobby and conference activity. Statewide meeting. We are going to have a statewide meeting on November 19th, Wednesday, 5 p.m. And this, for any new members, is a little link here. Every Wednesday, CCL has a live informational session for folks that join our organization to help them get oriented. Okay, so now here's the thing. As we've all heard, the government is shut down as of October 1st, and we are now into our 3rd week. So our lawmakers, the Senate is still in session, the House is not, and our members of Congress for Hawaii, and I'm sure for the other states, are working hard to try to help people who are being hurt already by this shutdown. And they may be federal employees, they may be low income or vulnerable people who depend on federal programs for the assistance that they need from the federal or through non-governmental nonprofit organizations. So here's a link that we can use to share our appreciation for what those members of Congress are doing in the shutdown. That would be for Senator Schatz, Senator Hirono, and for Representative Kaputa and Case. So Keith, Paul, if you can put that in the chat, I'm going to actually stop share and I'm going to do a little demo here. I'm going to try to do a little demo here, and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go here. And what you see here is right up at the top of the screen, you see that link, ends in number 165 /. And so this is the screen to easily send emails to our members of Congress. And excuse me if you're more familiar with this than somebody new would be, but some key things. Because I logged on with my email address, And because in the past I have checked this little box down the bottom which says, remember me, all my personal information about street address, phone number, my email, and my name is already filled in there. So it doesn't take any time at all. Now, what you can do is personalize this message, and you can check or uncheck these 3 members of Congress for Hawaii District 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to demo this in real time right now. And there is some wording that I created just the other day for this. And I've got a different subject. So I'm going to take that out of there and I'm going to put it up there. And my subject is help for Hawaii's vulnerable population and federal employees. I think when our members of Congress or their staff see that heading, they're going to say, wow, what's this about? And when they go down and read it, they will find a little message, which I've customized. As a constituent, I want to send appreciation to you and your staff's public service during the difficult times. Thank you for your ongoing work to needs of Hawaii federal employees and those who rely on government and NGO assistance program. When the shutdown resolves, as it must, I hope you will prioritize working across the aisle to address the need for affordable, reliable, renewable, clean energy. Energy costs are growing, but comprehensive bipartisan permitting reform will help connect more clean, affordable energy to the grid and reduce concessions. So that took me a little while to fuss with because I'm not fast at doing this. But as you do customize, the little blue thing down the bottom here says, wow, your custom was kind of okay, it was pretty good, or it was good. So then at the end of the day, when you're done, you hit send. And then you get another screen which says things like, you want to do more? Well, there's other things you can do too. But anyway, that's just perhaps a little motivation for you to please either now or later go ahead and send your own message. Or if you choose, just send the Stop CCL message. So that's all I have. Any questions on that? Let me ask those of us that are on the call right now, how many have sent this little action message that CCL recommends already? I see Paul has, Virginia has, and Noel has, and I have, and Karina has. So those of you who you know who you are, please copy that link and be part of the chickens here who are all good guys and girls. So let me go back to sharing, and this is going to be very relevant to those of us who do a lot of Hawaii dates. So who's the next person on?
It says hand off to Doug here in the notes. What is this? I've been tricked. I take it back, Noel. This is no longer the best. No. Okay. So CCL recent Hawaii activities. So we have the Climate Future Forum on November 1st for those on Oahu. And actually, Karina, I don't know if you're familiar at all with this. It's if you are, just nod your head and I'll shut up. Okay, excellent. And then we're still waiting for the Hawaii Green Growth to get back to us on some proposed metrics we had in mind for them. So the problem being that if you go to the Aloha Plus Challenge that tracks how well Hawaii is doing in meeting various environmental goals, when it comes to energy, most of the statistics only go out to 2022. And so we proposed some ideas for them to extend these statistics out to 2024, and one of them actually to part of 2025. So we're waiting to hear back from them. And then, yes, if you don't have enough to do, and as Ron said, join in Hawaii activities, welcome you to participate in Carbon Cashback, which many of you on this call do, so greatly appreciate that. Yeah, I'll just put my email in the chat in case anybody on this call has interest there. So I think that's it, Ron.
Ron?
I'm good. Oh, did he freeze?
Oh, okay. Sorry, hang on a sec. I got, where did I get to? I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. Here we go, I think.
So the next slide is essentially a summary of the Sunday activity, the Climate Action Greenwashing webinar.
That was a fantastic webinar if you get a chance to watch it. And we had a follow-on meeting with Wayne Tanaka, and that triggered another meeting with the LNG, the anti-LNG, pros, cons with the HSEO. So there's a description of why nuclear isn't clean, and then description of why LNG isn't clean. So if you get a chance to watch that webinar, if you're interested in those two topics.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug. The next slide that we have on there, Ron, allow me to share my screen.
Yes, you can.
That's okay?
You should be able to.
Yeah. Let's see, share. So the other event that happened in September was the National Drive Electric Month event here in Hawaii, Hawaii Island. And I put a link to the document. Maybe, Paul, you can share it. You know, I'm not going to read through this, but I just want to highlight that we had an EV show on the outside of the mall, lots of people there, lots of EVs. And then within the mall, we had a number of organizations involved, and some of these organizations were represented by folks here that participated in a tabling event. So we engaged with the public, and these are the organizations that were there: Red Cross, CCL, County of Hawaii, and so on and so forth. So quite a few organizations participated. And then in the link again, you have a gallery of the scenes from that particular event. So I just want to highlight that took place. CCL was there. Ron, you and Keith, right?
Keith
represented. Yeah, and Ruth, you had a booth adjacent for the League of Women Voters. So we had familiar faces at that event. So I just wanted to highlight that. That was one of the activities that took place in the past month. And Ron, what do we have next?
So, so I want to thank everyone on this call. I'm not going to show raise of hands, but everyone participated in making the lobby day a success. A lot of feedback and support. Thank you all. The youth crushed it. We did not co-opt them. We supported them. They had their own agenda. We scheduled this day during the DOE holiday fall break. And so I encourage them to attend, and those folks that are listed there represented a variety of issues: clean energy, renewables, carbon cashback, and so forth. So, and then highlights. We tried to connect. I judged a representative on Monday. We met with him, and he was thoughtful. He was deliberate. He was well prepared. This was a Zoom meeting. So I got to stop judging and learn more connecting. But we roam in the halls of the Capitol, and we had some key meetings, and I think there's room for optimism here that maybe we'll get to the finance committee this year in the House, and maybe we'll get passed. So, it's the best shot we had in a few years, and that's for the carbon cashback, carbon fee and dividend approach. So, next slide, please. But thank you all. And then you've seen this slide before to endorse, and then next slide, please. And then Paul mentioned this on his slide that we've expanded our legislative priorities, and balcony solar on the bottom there was passed in Utah. It's legislative law. It's plug-in solar. You plug in the unit to your household plug. It's just very safe and generate 1,200 watts, potentially up to 1,200 watts in the best case. So that has a lot of wheels. It's a lot of support. So we're looking for a win this year in the ledge. Maybe that might have some wind. Healthy soils. There's something for everyone. Healthy soils has a lot of cross collaboration, and the conversion to the super users, addressing the Ulupono super users. 7% of drivers, 6.8% of drivers use 23% of the carbon emissions spend in the state of Hawaii. So that's kind of on the tail, on the tailcoats of the Ulupono study and their initiative. This is a big push for them in May at the energy conference. So there's something for everyone in the state legislative priorities. We're kind of following the lead of the national to diversify a little bit away from carbon cashback.
I want to just call out number 3, which is the super user incentive. Earth Justice, Hawaii EV are also supportive of this, and Ulupono is actually pushing for some additional research to be done here on Hawaii Island, and Hawaii EV has volunteered to provide support for that. So that may be another one. The caveat, though, is finding the money, right, to fund the rebate program. So I think there's there's a lot of pressure to make it happen, given the impact of the super users on our gasoline consumption and carbon footprint. But we're going to have to figure out how to fund, and obviously there may be some lead into or support for carbon cashback as a result of needing to find the funding for this program.
Number one question from especially rural legislators: what about folks who are long commutes, and even folks like the aforementioned legislator, the thoughtful legislator. He's in a urban, he's downtown in Maui, and he has concerns about the long commuters. So it definitely is a sibling and reinforces the carbon cashback. So yeah, it's a common question for us to answer, and it is proposing solution oriented to bring up the super user support, super user conversion support.
I before we move on, I still can't relate to the fact that most of these super users are here on Hawaii Island, so it's understandable, right? Long driving distances, but the fact that they are actually driving 40,000 miles a year, I just couldn't wrap my head around that. It's like how many miles per day are they driving? It's just incredible.
Yes,
Ruth?
Does it seem like this is something that the green fee could be used for, because they're looking for suggestions right now?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, thanks, Ruth.
Short timeline.
Okay.
Yep, standard meetings. We don't need to belabor these. Monday morning, the Monday afternoon meeting is the general meeting. Well, everyone on this call has been to the meeting, so thank you.
Okay. So this is I guess it's the last slide here. Just as a reminder, I think we put the link in the chat earlier. Record your participation here, so this activity could be tracked. And I think that's the last slide, right, Ron?
Just that one. Yep.
Yeah. So if you stop sharing, just want to acknowledge again everybody for being here tonight. It's really great to be able to keep the momentum going. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff happening, especially with the legislative session coming up. Lots of support needed for carbon cashback and all the other priorities that are out there that obviously would be consistent with what we need to do. And just kudos, Karina, for joining the lobby team. Saw your email. Looking forward to getting that going. And it's just 4 weeks away, so we've got to hustle. So thanks again. I really appreciate everybody joining tonight. Have a great rest of the evening, and until next time.
Thanks as well. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Karina, for your presentation. Take care.
Aloha.